Okay, sweet. Listen up. If you do any kind of ads, content marketing, or SEO, and you get a decent amount of inbound leads, I'm sure you can relate. Getting those inbound leads is one thing, but being able to really effectively prioritize the right ones to spend your time on can actually be quite difficult and quite cumbersome and manual. Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you a workflow that I've been building out for quite a few B2B agencies, which has actually allowed them to spend a lot less time doing that research and allowing their sales team to better get an understanding of the leads coming through their funnel and which ones they should be spending their time on trying to get in front of. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to show you it all right now. So let's get into Loom. Okay, so now bear with me. Imagine a world where someone could just come onto your website, fill in a very, very simple form. Let's say just their name, email, and website. And you would get a detailed report on all the decision makers at that organization, the Facebook ads that organization is running, a bunch of firmographics, brand positioning metrics, and performance insights, all just from them filling in a very, very simple form. Well, I want to show you all of that. So let me zoom out and pretty much show you how this inbound flow is allowing agencies to really 2x their return on ad spend. Now, again, if you know my videos by now, I always like to start with like the tangible theory in terms of why we're even doing this. And then I'll get into the n8n workflow, which is waiting for you. So just give me a few moments. Now, with a lot of these agencies, they're spending loads of money on ads, LinkedIn, Meta, to try and bring in more inbound deal flow, right? Which is great. But as I mentioned previously, sometimes it's very difficult to prioritize or know who is the best person that you should be on the pulse with. And oftentimes what that means is the leads aren't prioritized and they just fall through the cracks, right? Maybe they're not contacted within the day, and just slowly over time, they are less hot as they initially were when they saw and opted in for your ad, right? Now, and also there's a bunch of manual work for teams to look at a lead, find out more information about their ads, what their ads are like, other information in terms of what their company org is like. It's just a lot of manual work, which oftentimes doesn't get done. And now, like, how can we take your inbound leads and automate deep account research to find out how good a lead is, right? So based on your said criteria, we can then say, hey, this lead fits this criteria. We send a message right in Slack as you're seeing here. So someone on your sales team can just get to them right away with all the information they'd ever need to be able to propose a very personal discovery call or whatever it is that is the next step of your funnel. Now, I want to start by talking about how we actually go about doing this and how you can make it effective for your own business. And it all starts with mapping out the process. Like, what is your process? Because it's going to be different to everybody else. So now I'll tell you, maybe for you, like how do you deem a lead as qualified? Maybe you check their LinkedIn. Like, how big is their company? And after you do that, maybe you check their Meta ad library. How many ad variations are they running? Yeah. And then maybe after that, you may go one step further to even check their SEO traffic, because maybe that's important to you because you also do some kind of conversion rate optimization work aside from your ad work, which means it's important to know if they're getting decent traffic. So it all starts here. It all starts from mapping your process that you will take manually to then say, this person matches all these things. Yep, let's get in front of him, if that makes sense. And maybe after you know all of this, maybe you'll sort of craft an email to say, I saw you this, let's pick some time in for a call. I don't know, whatever it is that you tend to do, it's important to map it. And now once you've mapped it, the next step, yes, you can go onto a tool like n8n or make.com and try to build something from scratch, which, of course, there's always going to be an element of that. However, you need to look and find out what kind of tools are already there. So what tools can you leverage to do what you're trying to do, right? And so, in fact, I've already got an example. If I come over here, I know for this workflow I'm going to show you, the 3 important tools are Perplexity to do the deep account research. We're going to need Apify. Apify is a great tool that has a bunch of built-in scrapers that you can use. So you can scrape Facebook, you can scrape Instagram, you can scrape pretty much anything you want to scrape using Apify. And then, of course, Slack, because Slack is our internal process. And so you could just go on here and type in Facebook ad scraper, and whatever comes up, you can then leverage, and you might see Apify, amazing. And this is the exact scraper that we're going to use in today's video. And it's really, really important you do this. Do not just try to reinvent the wheel when there's quite literally no need. When tools like Apify are so cheap, it's going to save you a bunch of time. So now you've mapped your process, you know what tools you're going to leverage. Now we can come into n8n, use tools like Apify, connect it into n8n to do the stuff we're trying to do. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing you're probably thinking is, this is so simple. And my answer is yes. Oftentimes the thing that add the most value are the very simple tools. So what we're doing here is someone fills in a form. I'm not going to show the data here because it contains someone's personal email, and I don't want to sort of just show that all over the internet. But pretty much is we're passing in an e-commerce brand, right? But the name of the person that filled in the form, the email, and their website. We're then taking that to find the company. So what we're doing here is we're using Apollo, and I just shared my API key, so I need to delete this now. But by using Apollo to basically find the company associated with the people that filled in the form. After we've done that, we're then using the Facebook Apify, the thing I just showed you, to scrape their Facebook page and try to find out, are they running any Facebook ads? So what you can see here, the company in question is Naked and Thriving. I'm passing it in somewhere here. There we are. And I'm basically saying, look, here's their Facebook URL, which I got from Apollo. Use that to try and find out and tell me what kind of ads are they running. And you can see a lot of information here about all the ads, how many ads they're running, and so much stuff which you can use. But right now I'm not using all of that information. And then the next step is, okay, now we want to find the employees, like who works at this company. But in fact, I took it a step further when I said, tell me the return all the founders, CEOs, and then any decision makers in the marketing sector, because that's what we want to spend our time getting in front of. Once we've done that, now I'm using Perplexity to do real deep account research. So it's quite hard to read, very hard to read. But what I'm pretty much saying here is, look, Perplexity, here's the company in question. I want you to extract as much key insights as you can that is publicly available. And Perplexity is going to search the web, do a bunch of different things to basically return to me what you saw was returned in the Slack. And one thing that's really cool here is Perplexity always returns something called citations, which means Perplexity will show you exactly where it got its info from. So you can just cross-reference to make sure that it isn't hallucinating. So if I sort of come here, and I open up this URL, when it decides to load, what you should see here is it should reference like the performance signals that were like retrieved. And what I mean by that, as you can see here, 215 ROI in the first month. Now remember that. If I head back to our Slack, we can see here, ad spend, strong ROI from ambassador campaigns. So you can see that it's not hallucinating anything. It's using public information that it can find and using that to then base off its output. So it's really effective. So yeah, that's that. After we've got the detailed insights, we're then combining the insights with the Facebook ads, with the decision makers to basically use a block kit, which is Slack's way of like creating like nice structured output. And as you can see here, decision makers, one click straight to his LinkedIn, their active ads, and a bunch of other information. Now just look at how effective this is. If you were to now tag the salesperson saying, hey, the new qualified lead with all of this information, just imagine how quickly you're able to be on top of that lead and to prioritize the ones that need more of a manual touch. Of course, there's going to be some leads that maybe you want to pass them down into an automation like email flow if they don't fit a certain criteria, but those that do will come into your Slack like so. Someone can pick them up and begin to sort of drive the conversation forward. So as you can see here, it's a really effective workflow, which is quite simple, but it's really allowing some agencies to double their ROAS on the ads that they're doing, particularly on LinkedIn, because that's where a lot of the B2B sales stuff is occurring. So hope you found this video valuable. Again, as I mentioned, do let me know and I'll share the JSON template for the workflow in the comments below. Any questions, do let me know, and God bless, and I'll see you again very soon.